Yes, it is true. The vampires are still consuming human flesh. Now over to Robbie for sports. Robbie?
Hey, excuse me. The gnome monkeys are set to win the gnome ball championship this year.
Thank you, Robbie. Moving on over to Steve for the weather.
It's cold.
Insightful stuff, Steve. Our next segment is interviewing strangers on what their favorite skill is.
Excuse me, sir. What is your favorite skill?
Oh, that's easy. Of course, my favorite skill is wood.
Slayer. He said Slayer. Ma'am, if you don't mind, could I just ask you one quick question? What is your favorite skill?
I mean, it's kind of like weird, right? I mean, my last name is literally a fish.
Fantastic. Another vote for Slayer. Hello, sir. Sir? Excuse me, sir?
I like rune crafting.
As you can see, every single person we surveyed enjoys Slayer as their favorite skill. But why? Well, Abyssal Demons drop the Whip and Sire has the Bludgeon, both of which are huge upgrades for any Ironman account. You've got Kraken, which drops the Trident, finally making magic a viable option. Smoke Devils are probably the best task for an imbued heart, and you can get the Dragon Hunter Lance from Hydra. What's not to love about Slayer? Well, as we can see, all of these great tasks are at higher levels. The low and mid levels, you have to slog through horrible fire giant tasks, troll tasks, calfight tasks, and many others. That's not even mentioning all the food and prayer potions you'll be going through that are hard to come by at these levels, and these tasks don't properly reward you for them either. That's where this beautiful woman comes in. Could it be? A Slayer Master accessible to low levels? A Slayer Master that provides plenty of supplies? A Slayer Master that gives you more Slayer points than any other Master? A Slayer Master who has a unique key drop with amazing rewards? A Slayer Master who has a higher chance for superior monsters? A Slayer Master who is the only one that can send you to the insanely profitable Revenant Caves? And a Slayer Master who can assign you tasks for the best spec weapon in the game? Krystilia has all of this. While most Slayer Masters have a Slayer or a combat level requirement, Krystilia has none. Additionally, Krystilia doesn't interrupt your task streak, so if you just want to dip your toes into Wilderness Slayer, it's really easy to tutorial skip if you decide against it. If you do decide to do Wilderness Slayer without tutorial skipping, here is a good block list you can use. Prioritize the higher weight tasks as you unlock more slots from questing. We don't block bosses because generally we like boss drops, and if you don't feel like doing a boss, you can opt to only do 3 of them for a cool 25 points. We don't block Aviansies because we're not going to spend the points to unlock them in the first place. Greater Demons, Black Demons, Hellhounds, Fire Giants, Ice Warriors, and Magic Axes are all high weight tasks without very good drops. I remember always struggling during my low levels with upkeeping food and prayer potions, but the blighted drops you get from bosses, the Slayer Cave, Revenants, and Zombie Pirates are more than enough to sustain you. And because you're in the wilderness, you get a looting bag to help you hold all of the supplies between trips. I still wouldn't get too comfortable and let your inventory get too full though. PKers are still a small concern. Doing Krystilia early on in your Slayer grind also pays off by letting you accumulate plenty of points. At 25 points per task, it is easy to stock up on a ton of points here, which will come in handy if you're skipping for a Hydra task later on. Let's rip off the band-aid of why everyone avoids Wilderness Slayer. PKers. What's the point of all this extra GP and rewards if I'm just gonna lose it to a PKer along with losing all my gear? Well, I have a couple feelings about that. Let's talk about the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. When I'm working for 8 hours at my computer, my dog maybe bugs me 2 or 3 times. From my perspective, my dog is constantly harassing me and it's impossible to get any work done. This is because of the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon being a frequency bias. It's not happening a lot, I'm just noticing it when it does happen because it sticks out. I think this is the same thing happening with the wilderness. I honestly maybe see a PKer once every 5 tasks, but it's when I see a PKer is what sticks out and I feel like I'm constantly under assault. Recognizing this really helped me change my mindset of I can't go 5 minutes without being PK'd. And with all the overpowered RuneLite plugins we have access to now, escaping this rare occurrence isn't too bad. But let's say worst case scenario, we die. Well, we shouldn't be risking too much in the first place. You've got 3 good items, maybe your weapon, a defender, and a slayer helm, and the rest can be really cheap or free gear that isn't a big deal to lose. So, in the rare case that you do die, you don't lose very much, but the wilderness monsters profit so much, it's more than worth it. If you're enjoying this video, subscribe and send it to your grandma. She'll share it with her knitting group. Her knitting group will send it to their Fortnite grandchildren. All of her grandchildren will also like and subscribe and send it to their friends. And their friends will watch this video, go into the wilderness, and we can let the PKers get them instead of us. Honestly, liking and subscribing is going to keep you safe in the wilderness. Let's talk about Wilderness Slayer's amazing profits. Ignoring the supply drops, which basically sustain your food, your restores, your ice barrage spells for Scorpio and Arsho.
Arsho. Arsho. Arsho. Arsho.
Every task has the chance to get you a Laron's key. The chest has fantastic supplies, good alks, good supply of dragon ammunition, and good production experience getting banked. Getting a superior monster is increased by 10% on Wilderness Slayer tasks, so it's not even a bad place to grind for the imbued heart either. The wilderness bosses are in a much better place now, especially now that we finally have an easily accessible crush weapon for Calvarian and Spindle, which is the Zombie Axe. The Voidwaker is the big ticket item here of course, but the amount of red spider eggs, sand fuse, mahogany logs, and other drops cannot be glossed over. These bosses are well worth your time, and they're all below level 30 wilderness, so it's pretty easy to escape. People call the Revenant Caves the money caves for a reason. Not only are their normal drops insane, but you also get emblem drops, which are just an insane GP injection straight into your bank. Of course, there are also the wilderness weapon drops, which are so overpowered in the wilderness, and even have some uses outside of the wilderness. This is probably the most likely spot you'll get PK'd, but at an average value of 33,000 GP per kill while you're scolded, it's well worth it. There's a few different places recommended to kill revs, but I prefer the Dark Beasts. It's right at level 30 wilderness, so you can still get away, and I personally haven't been PK'd in the past 1,000 or so kills. Just make sure to hover that telly and you should be fine. Grinding out Slayer in the wilderness until you get at least into the mid 80s for your Slayer level just makes sense. You don't have to worry about supplies, you get a much needed GP injection into your account, you bank a ton of resources for skilling and PVM, and you have a good chance at getting the best spec weapon in the game, so you don't have to go back for it later. Admittedly, the wilderness does get busier during the weekend, so I personally would do it during the week and then normal Slayer on the weekend, because your task streaks don't interrupt each other. Grinding it out early on will hopefully make it so you don't have to come back after 99 Slayer for a Voidwaker and the Rev weapons. But even if you do have to come back, at least you've gotten some experience and a couple of nice drops.
You're the one for me. Slayer tasks and supplies for free. Rewards that stack up endlessly. In the tower you stand so mighty. More points than any other. My go-to Slayer master. Keys and Voidwakers fast. Revs and drops that always last. Crystalia, thank you so much. For the lore and keys, your magic touch. Voids and revs in every rush. Your supplies make my soul blush. Every task you hand end. Endless thanks will never end. Crystalia, thank you so much. Follow around keys, your magic touch. Words and reps in every rush. Your supplies make my soul blush. I'm so blush. Crystalia, thank you so much. For the Loran keys, your magic touch. Points and rips in every rush. Your supplies make my soul blush.